Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello, Gono.
Hey, mover. Gonky.
What's up, dude? We've got a legend on tonight.
The man, the
wow.
myth, the legend.
That's right, man. It's good to have you, Gono.
Yeah. Thank you.
Known
Good to
around
be
the
here,
world,
man.
Yeah.
or at least around the Spanish-speaking aviation world. You are pretty popular.
Really?
Yeah. You've
you.
done a full in Espanol interview, right?
I did. Yeah.
That is awesome.
That is
That's
awesome.
pretty cool. It's something I could never pull off.
Yeah, for those of you guys. Yeah. Well, for those of you guys who don't know, Gono's F-15, F-16.
Hold on a second. Why do we have to lead with the F-15?
That's
what
chronologically.
Well, yeah.
Let's go backwards from best to worst. He flew the Viper most recently, which is the best.
Okay. All right.
And then T-38A.
Yeah.
Did some Predator time.
Right?
T-38C.
Yeah. And then F-15C.
And then
the T6 maybe.
T-37, the tweet.
T-37.
Oh, you were a tweet guy. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I flew the tweet, man. I'm old.
Like me.
Yeah.
Tweety bird. Yeah, that's awesome.
And we've got Gonky back.
Yeah, man.
I'm sunglasses.
I'm better today, man.
But a beard.
Yeah, it's part of the recovery process.
Yeah, not working, huh?
Working from home. Doc says don't shave. It's bad.
That's right.
Wicked Spider Black says we're on the wrong side. But look, I like this better because it looks like I'm looking at Gonky. If we do it the other way, it looks like I'm just looking at the wall.
There's a method, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mover, dude.
Doesn't look right.
Mover's got like multiple screens and compete. He's like full professional. I'm just.
Oh, dude, I got everything, man. I got a rocking chair.
Yeah, you got zip ties on your mic. I mean, dude,
it moves. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Mover's the real deal.
So we've got a show again.
Yeah. Well, Mover, how was your weekend?
I don't know.
I'm curious.
I worked for a living.
Thank you for providing freedom this weekend, by the way. It was a real weekend, Gono. So we slept under the blanket of Mover freedom.
I exist so that you don't have to.
Drill weekend, huh?
Yeah.
I don't miss those. I don't miss those at all.
A lot of changes coming down. A lot of changes.
That reminds me, Gono, I might be borrowing some of your uniforms, man.
Yeah, Gono, you might be glad you're retired when we get to the open ranks uniform inspections.
Oh, wow.
That may or may not be happening.
Yeah, let me guess. Less flying to do that?
No, how about no flying for Mover?
We are not a flying club, sir. We are a professional military organization. And the only way you can be a professional military organization is if your uniform looks nice.
It's not how we win wars, but okay.
I don't know. It depends. Is the next war fought on the catwalk? You don't know.
Come on, man.
I have modeling experience, so I know about these things. So, I mean, I think I, of all people, should be the one directing the inspections.
You might be.
All right.
Keep this up. You might be.
Yeah.
Making a phone call.
Keep this up. Yeah, I know. Is my phone even ringing now as we speak?
Straight to the top for Mover.
Straight. Yeah. So anyway, show. And how was your weekend, Gonky?
It's pretty good. Yeah, man. I've been this flu alpha thing has been.
Why is it alpha? How many are there? Is it Alpha Bravo Charlie, or does it go?
I think it's A and B. We took my kid to the urgent care, and they're like, "Oh, he's got flu alpha. It's been going around. It's pretty nasty. It lasts for like up to 10 days." So, I mean, I just have fatigue, man. Just been tired. Like I said, I took a 3-hour nap today. I never take naps.
You need a 5-hour energy
to
gap the 3-hour nap. Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's a full day.
That's a
full day of work. Yeah,
8 hours there, buddy.
That's how we get a full day's work, so Elon doesn't cancel you.
Oh, that's funny, dude. Gono, how about you, man? What have you been up to, man?
What does Gono's semi-retired life look like?
Yeah, dude.
Well, much like donkeys. Yeah, retired. No longer in the Air Force after 22 years. My biggest accomplishment, I think, was my last day in the Air Force, and that's because my very last day, I flew the F-16. I flew the F-16, landed. I pitted, had my second sortie, landed. I had my Finney flight celebration. Went to the bar, hung out with the bros there for a few hours, and then
Hell yeah.
never been back.
Dude, I am so jealous.
I saw a picture of the Mako bar and it looks so much different. Like they have renovated that thing into something amazing. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a great bar.
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome before, but they added like, I don't know, some like thanks, Gonky.
Yeah.
The coughing. We appreciate you.
I thought I muted the I thought I muted the mic.
It's like the yawn heard around the world.
I'm still fighting the thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, nice bar. Thanks for that. So let's talk about something else because I got the signal to move on from Gonky.
No, you didn't. Signal, man.
Give him the signal.
He cares. He cares.
I do, man.
Let's see. John says Gono needs to do this episode for Cuatro in Espanol.
Okay.
Us who habla.
Sure, why not?
No say.
Okay. Yeah, no say.
I'll give you like another 4 years. Maybe you can learn a few words.
I'm working on it, dude. I have interest.
Yeah. You should.
I have interest in learning the language.
Yeah.
No, you did it wrong again. You're unmuting yourself to cough, dude.
Does this work? Can you hear me?
It sounds bad.
Is this thing on?
I know. Hold on.
Oh no.
Hold on.
Yeah. We hear you,
dude. Nope. Here we go.
There we go.
He's a trooper. He's here.
Yep.
He wants to take another 3-hour nap, and he's here.
He's been. Oh, we're such a train wreck,
dude. That was it. Sorry, man. Wrong mic.
Yeah,
bad.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Perfect. Oz Dead Meat says, "Dear God, did mover age minus 25 years? The dude looks like he's about 12." It's called shaving.
Yeah,
very, very tragic. Gono, aka La Bamba. What? Oh, what does the rest of that say, dude? I'm not even gonna try. Orto,
it's Mexican.
La Plata Ploma.
Mexican.
It's Mexican.
It's not Spanish. It's Mexican.
I don't understand it. Yeah.
Gono speaks Puerto Rican.
That's right.
As Trump would say. Puerto Rico.
That's funny, dude. That's funny.
Brian says, I feel like I just heard the plot of a new Zoolander movie. What in tarnation? I've never seen Mover and Paris Hilton in the same room. That's all I'm saying. It's true. Catwalk days. And Crazy Pete, what's up, man? What's with the, I don't know, Gonky. Why did you change it?
I did, dude. Now listen, I do have cat shot brain. Yeah, but see what?
Sick.
See, I've got cat shot brain. Mover, maybe I did change it. There we go.
You did, dude. You were off making videos for the Gonky Reacts channel.
I don't even know how to change font, dude.
That's probably how it happened. You're just clicking, dude. You're dangerous when you click. Doug's, how many days? Doug doesn't know. We don't know. I don't think YouTube even knows.
No, for sure. We're going to find out, though. It could be forever.
All right. Doug, do you have the first article, sir?
If it's this one.
Oh, hey, before we do that, hey, check it out, Gonky.
Oh, yeah. Did you get it together? No. Okay.
This is even better. It's the
nice.
first proof of my my book.
Nice, dude.
The
That's
new sci-fi
awesome.
book.
Sci-fi, huh?
Yeah, science fiction, dude. If you
When's
can't beat them, join them.
When is it available, sir?
March 25th. I tried. This one's going to need some work because the cover didn't come out right. Because he cut off the thing. So this proof is going to. This is going to the starving kids in Africa. This is like this is like the Chiefs Super Bowl shirt. This will go to some library somewhere for underprivileged youths.
Is it a book about drill weekend in the future or something like that?
Space drill weekend. So basically you sit around and you talk about all the changes that the space admirals come up with.
Yeah, you still got it right here, OPR.
Yeah, OPB now, sir. They're not called OPRs anymore.
My bad. I'm glad I retired.
Oh, that's funny, dude.
Yeah. OPP.
Yeah. This year for me, GONO, I think I'm
Really?
yeah. I already had my meeting with the Air Force Reserve people, so I just have to.
Well,
I'm
thank
trying
you
to
for your
talk him out of
service,
it.
man.
He is trying to talk me out of it, but I don't think it's gonna
I
happen.
can't do this alone, dude.
Well, you gotta convince him to shave first.
Yeah, I know. See, I'm hoping by me pull the trigger, like it's like an auto for mover. He's like, wow, you can't go
Dude.
into the war like solo.
One uniform inspection away from that.
Yeah.
That's I'm one open ranks and a left face. I don't know how to do any of that stuff anymore. Like, why would you? When's the last time you needed that?
I got a doctor. I can't do left or right faces. My knee.
You're not an ambi-facer.
Okay, that's right. I can do forward.
Yeah.
That's it.
Forward harch.
Yeah. You can only dance in the rudders. That's all.
That's right.
all you can do. Right?
That's it, man. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
All right. So we got some news. Fat Amy and Skinny Felon met each other in Bengaluru.
That's a cool picture, man.
And make it large, sir. Make it
enhance.
Enhance.
I don't have that option for this one. Hang on.
If you just click on the picture, it'll enhance.
You think so?
Will it?
Yeah, that's
wow. Wow.
Where's Twitter literate?
Yeah. It's X now, sir. It's not Twitter. So you got
X literate. Doesn't sound right.
Look, it just doesn't.
It
just makes us look bad.
Yeah.
That's not
what the fatness.
Yeah.
Is that it?
It's American bloat versus
don't hold back,
Svetlana. It's Svetlana. Svetlana and Fat Amy.
Yeah.
It's almost you can tell, the Russians put more emphasis in maneuverability, and we probably put more emphasis on stealth and technology.
Yeah.
So
one thing old Fat Amy doesn't need a start cart. Look at that.
That's right.
I mean, she carries the start cart inside of her.
She is the start cart.
She is.
Yeah.
Part of her girth is I carry a start.
She
start
carries
cart.
camping supplies in that bulbous belly.
Yeah, I tried to watch. I did some YouTube searching on this, and there's a couple of videos out there trying to compare them, like the aerial demonstration. But really, the F-35 just kind of took off and flew around. The Su-57 did its normal routine, which is pretty impressive.
The same 60-year-old guy.
Yeah, they had a picture of him like with the airfield, like he took a selfie like with the airfield through the canopy.
That's pretty impressive, man.
Oh, it's crazy, man.
One is flying straight and level, and the other one's doing the Hayakas.
Yeah. But dude, when you're stealthy, right? BFM doesn't matter. That's what everybody says.
Well, let's be honest. The air show portion of this event doesn't matter. It's all what's happening in the backroom dealings that's going to sell these airplanes.
100%. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Whoever cuts them the best deal or shares the most manufacturing technology.
So that is an interesting thing. Oh, look, we did a pass at 200 feet. Thank you.
Hold on. Here comes the level
it's
turn.
Loud. It's loud.
I pulled closed.
It is loud.
Great. It's a normal pattern. It's every Friday.
He's actually a high
Friday.
Key. He's a high key right now with some sort of an
high key.
Every Friday, that's what it looks like. Oh, he's pitching for best glide. Meanwhile, this dude's departed controlled flight. Yeah. Su-57E. So, Gonky, let me ask you this, because you're the expert in foreign material cells.
Oh, geez.
What do you think's happening here?
I think some chest thumping's going on. I think, like you said, man, it's all going to be determined behind closed doors. There's probably going to be some other things discussed other than just airplanes, what kind of support, what other stuff. I mean, kind of like we've seen with other countries trying to buy the F-35, like the US doesn't like it when another country has like Russian or Chinese equipment and they want to buy the F-35, right? Like remember the whole S-400 thing with Turkey, right? What do the Indians have
that's American? Because they have a whole lot of French, Russian.
Yeah.
They have that indigenous thing, right? Don't they have that one indigenous fighter?
They do. Yeah. Which was at the air show.
But they don't have, and the Su-57 wasn't it PACFA? Wasn't that originally? So who were they weren't in on that originally.
Yeah.
The Pakistanis were.
Yeah. I think it'd be a stretch for them to get F-35 just because like we're talking about, they've got a lot of other, and because the reason is they have, there's civilian and military support to support those programs, right? So like, you don't want to have, the idea is like, that's just an opportunity for technology to spill, right? Of course it could work both ways, but I think it would be a stretch that they get F-35, but that's just my professional opinion. What do you think? What do you think, GONO, of Fat Amy and
okay, it has nothing to do with Pakistan, so never mind. I lied. I was wrong.
I don't know, man. I'd be surprised if India gets or buys the F-35, but you never know. I'm not a politician. I'm sure that if I were to choose a more or most capable aircraft, I'd definitely go with the F-35. All joking aside, but yeah, you never know.
I'm surprised we want to sell it to them.
Well, it might, dude. It might be a like I said, it might be a little bit of chest thumping, right? I mean, it doesn't really cost anything. I mean, there's some jet fuel and maybe some hotel bills, right, to send the F-35 over there and fly it around, set it next to the best that Russia has to offer. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's a long shot.
Yeah. Well, before the comments butcher me, it is not Pakistani. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, you don't get those two mixed up, man.
Yeah, I don't want to. Well, no, I thought it was originally like a joint venture. Like I thought they were involved somehow, probably because of PAC, but PAC does not stand for Pakistan.
I'll tell you something regarding that. I flew a JFK to New Delhi in November.
Oh.
Yeah. And one of the things they tell you is taken out of New Delhi. Obviously, there's fields in Pakistan that could be an alternate in case of emergency. And they tell you do not land in Pakistan just because you're obviously taken off out of India. And that's just not a good idea. So,
with a whole bunch
there's definitely beef.
Yeah, dude.
No, there's beef for sure.
Yeah.
There's beef. There's beef. There's movies. There's movies about the T is fantastic.
Yeah.
One guy got shot down and he was in captivity for like a day, and they asked him about it. He's like, the T is fantastic.
Did you ruin that movie?
Did. I ruined the trailer, I think. I don't we never did ruin was the Indian Top Gun. Remember we did the trailer on that, but we never watched the actual movie.
We need to do that.
Or they had the Su-35 like inverted at 10 feet off the runway.
Yeah. I mean, probably, it'd be a good last flight. But yeah, I think that would be a fun one.
Yeah. You can try anything once, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Why
not? How it ends up, who knows?
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, that's a good talk. And thank you for your service. What's the audience have? Did I miss No-Go's bio? No, because there is no No-Go here.
He's not. Yeah.
He's not the first one.
He's not the first one tonight. Like,
yes.
Sometimes it be your own people.
Yes, I get it.
That's awesome, dude.
Isn't there an interview of GONO somewhere on the channel? I remember that.
Yeah. Like how many years ago, Mover? Like 5 years ago?
5?
No, dude. It was like yesterday.
It feels like yesterday.
Yeah, it's like yesterday.
But like GONO said, I mean, we've known one another for 10 years. I'm like, what?
Yeah, we interviewed together in 301st.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Dude.
Yeah.
Mover's in denial, dude. It's okay.
I don't know. My camera keeps going in and out of blur. It's crazy. It's like my mental focus right now. It's actually mirroring my level of, as it goes out of focus, the trons go out of like it's some kind of neural network.
You may have cat shot brain.
Yeah, that one.
The one
I
time
took in the C2.
All it takes is one, dude.
What is happening with this? Stop it. Anyway, you want to talk about the next thing, Gonky, or what?
What do we got, Doug? What's next?
Air Force pause.
Yeah, sure. Bring it up. I can read it.
So,
or Mover can read it.
You read it, Gonky.
Defense Secretary orders Air Force to pause all reorganization planning. So, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth directed the Department of the Air Force to pause all planning related to its reoptimization for great power competition effort, a move that leaves a sweeping plan to transform the Air Force and Space Force in limbo. So, let's see. On February 6th, Secretary of Defense directed the Air Force to pause all planning actions connected to its reorganizing of great power competition efforts. Spokesman said the planning pauses remains in effect until the Senate confirmed Secretary and Undersecretary of the Air Force are in place and have the opportunity to review the initiatives. The Department of Air Force welcomes the opportunity for our new leaders to assess all ongoing actions and ensure compliance with DoD directives. We will issue clarifying guidance as necessary. So they also said that basically programs and things that have already started can continue. Basically, so they've already begun or allocated the money for it, and those programs are going that it can go. Just things that haven't started yet, it's a pause. So obviously, with a switch in the administration, you could expect something like this. What I was surprised about is the fact that the amount of time it takes to get these guys into place. So it says later in the article that we can anticipate like maybe 2 to 3 months. And the last SecDef it took, the previous administration, it took, I think, 2.5 months to get all the players through the Senate hearings and into their jobs. There we go, 3 months in order to start working, which I don't know, guys, to me as like as just a taxpayer and somebody who just, wants to get stuff done. I think it's kind of crazy that and like it says up above there's 63 Defense Department positions requiring Senate confirmation. The White House has submitted 14 of those, and like they all have to go through this vetting process, which I guess is necessary, but maybe not. But to me, that's just that's my opinion. I just see it as a maybe a time of vulnerability because things are in limbo. I don't know. That part of the article kind of struck me as I think we can do better. And if you remember, GONO, we interviewed at the same time.
Yeah.
But I showed up a year later.
Yeah.
And it was because I had to wait for Congress to get together and say, okay, Gonky's no longer lieutenant commander. He's now a major. It took that long. So, and of course, Mover's done it twice, so to speak.
Yeah. Was that the scroll? The reserve scroll?
Yes, dude. Yeah. Yes. Wild, man. Exactly. Yeah. GONO and I get hired at the same time, and literally I show up a year later. Yeah. And I kind of, that experience, I'm kind of thinking about how this plays out with our leadership at the highest level. There just has to be a better way to have their hearings, uncover any skeletons or whatever that need to be uncovered. And then do you get on with the job, man? I mean, 2-3 months is a long time. What do you guys think?
So I'm curious, because it's very vague, right? I'm curious what specifically it affects, because at the end of last year, they were trying to rush a bunch of changes before the election. And they talked about that with this great power competition, i.e. shifting focus to the Pacific region. And one of the things was to reorganize wings, to have a staff and get rid of group commanders. And it's interesting how it would play out, in general with this pause and this change. You know what I mean? So like, what does it look like? And why were we changing stuff so fast only to turn around and say, no, we're not going to change stuff?
Yeah. What do you think, GONO?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things to talk about in relation to what you said. Number one, I think the Senate takes a long time because that's how our government is designed. There's a lot of bureaucracy, and a lot of it comes from the Senate having control, or our civilian leaders having control of our military. That's one aspect of it, and I think the other is like you're obviously another administration coming over, and they're taking a big look at government agencies, how they spend, and all these changes that cost money. So I think they're just doing that to an agency that takes a huge part of our budget, So I don't know. When I retired, I we were talking about the changes for the groups and all that stuff, but I don't know where that ended up, and yeah, I think there's a lot of politics involved.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff is just change for the sake of change. Like somebody gets this good idea and they're like, we need to do it better. And it's like, there's a balance, right? There's a balance between staying on the leading edge and somebody needs to have something to justify their existence. And I think we shift towards the justification of existence more than we do, hey, we're innovative and trying to do the right thing. And you can always tell when it's a peacetime environment because the first thing we start focusing on is uniforms, morale patches, t-shirts, uniform boots. Inspections, boots. It's like, I mean, because I remember when I first, got to the operational world, dude, that was a bloodbath. Yeah, you remember 2008-ish time frame? We got in the Air Force. You remember this, GONO? We went from we were in the middle of war, but the war was going well. So then we shifted focus. We needed a new PT test. We needed a new PT uniform. We needed new boots because we couldn't have black boots anymore. We had to have whatever green boots. And then we couldn't have black t-shirts anymore. We had to have, whatever it was, tan or green or whatever it ended up becoming. And then we got rid of morale shirts for a while. They came back. We went blues Monday, got rid of that. We came back. Now we're doing like the more things change, the more they stay the same. And it's like a playbook. I don't know where they have this playbook, who wrote the playbook, but it seems like anytime a new group comes in, they're like, okay, what can I do to hurt retention and recruiting as quickly as possible? Oh, I got it. Uniforms. We're gonna do that. We're gonna piss everybody off and send them running. Okay, cool. We're not gonna focus on war fighting. We're gonna focus on uniforms because when you can't fix the big stuff, you focus on the little stuff, and that's what happens.
I don't mind like GONO was saying, like I don't mind like new leadership coming in and just review, and they might be like, hey, yeah, this is all good, keep going. But like my issue is this, like GONO was saying, the civilian leaders kind of almost, I don't know if they're dragging their feet, but there has to be a faster way to get these people into their jobs, basically, so we're not, I mean, even Mover and I, right? Some things we're even in our unit where we're at now, we're kind of in limbo, like wondering what to do. And I guess it shouldn't be anything new because we're old enough to have been in the military long enough to, have several different regimes of leadership. But I just think it's wild that it takes that long. I guess, since we're all fighter pilots, like we just want to get it done now. Like,
we forget that the Air Force is a government agency,
right?
But no different than the DMV. We're good at blowing up stuff.
But like as fighter pilots,
all we care about. All we care about is what tools and toys and tactics and techniques and procedures can you give us to do that. So every time we hear anything that is not related to that, we go,
what?
WTFO, mate.
Right.
I mean, who cares? Like, why are you wasting my time with this? Give me the tools, means, and equipment to go fly, fight, win. That's it. That's all I care about. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, but we'll have rank inspections, but the T7 is delayed again for another year.
Yeah, but we won't have anybody to inspect because they're all gone. It's just going to be the 5 people who couldn't get airline jobs that are going to be left inspecting each other.
Yeah, they took the 20-year bonus.
They did.
They're suckers. Stuck. Yeah, we'll make the commitment 20 years so that they can't leave.
But listen to this. When I first started flying the Eagle, it's back in 2006. I remember flying over 250 hours, almost 300 hours in a year.
Oh yeah,
we were flying 14 turn 12s.
Mm-hmm.
No issues, and I mean, we'd put up all these big LFEs, and I didn't fly that much in the Viper. I didn't see the F-22 flying that much when we were at Tyndall.
No way.
Oh,
it's
100
terrible.
Years would be maybe.
Yeah, so
maybe.
Definitely, it seems to me like the focus is somewhere else, and that's sad in a way.
Yeah,
well, that's a function of selling your soul for 5th gen. Like, we don't have the money. We can't afford the Air Force we want, as Gonky always says. We back in our day, 5th gen. Look, it's going blurry because my mind is going blurry. 5th gen was
you said 5th gen.
5th gen. It went blurry. 5th gen was like the thing nobody really knew about, nobody really talked about. It was over there. Everybody else, the workhorse community, was Vipers, Eagles, A10s. So we had all these communities that could do it. We had all these communities that were out there doing the work, and we had a lot of them. Well, as those start to dwindle down and you start going to these 5th gen fighters that you didn't buy enough of and you didn't buy a lot of, and they're always delayed, and there's always something going on, you're not getting flight time. So,
yeah, man.
I mean, we had jets and availability. And when you have those two things, dude, same thing with when I was a young lieutenant. Dude, I flew 27 BFM sorties 1 month. That's why my neck is broken. In the Block 30 Big Mouth, dude.
But the guys like the generations before us, they actually flew more.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. Like I remember talking to, the old guys, when I was a new guy, and they flew more than we did. And they did more BFM too. So, I mean, and that's why those guys were so good at at fighting, because they flew all the time, man. And it's just sad, Mover and I cover this all the time. It's like, well, we'll put some sims in here. It's like, no, dude, it doesn't.
You can't replace it with.
No, you can't. I mean, there's a lot of good technology with sims and all that stuff. So that definitely supplements the flying.
Yeah.
But to replace it, obviously, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, bigger people, smarter people will figure this out, and it won't be us.
Yeah.
Hey, Skid. He's checking in.
Oh, yeah. Skid.
Now, that's a legend right there. Skid.
Yeah, he is a legend. Spenno, we need to have Skid back on at some point. He's the happiest fighter pilot I've ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zipper says, my kid is graduating Army Basic on Wednesday. AIT and Airborne coming up. Good for you.
Oh, congrats.
So, yeah. All right. So what else is next on the thing? Did you guys watch the Super Bowl?
I got the highlights, man.
I didn't see the flyover, but I understand that they used Ospreys to fly over a dome, so that makes perfect sense.
Well, all height systems stayed operational.
Yeah.
Safety first. We couldn't risk an open air stadium with that thing, so we had the helmet.
Yeah.
Did they straddle the stadium, or did they actually go right over?
They avoided it by 5 miles. They only flew over the river.
Yeah. Is that right? It's like, do you hear them? Yeah.
Here's video. Oh, it's on the Jumbotron. Then they booed Taylor Swift.
Poor Osprey guys, dude. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I have kids, man. I can't. I don't have any free time to watch TV. There's 2 things on my TV: Bluey, Wildcrats. That's it. Those are the 2 things that are always on my TV: Bluey and Wildcrats. Period.
Well, Gonky is flying safe.
Yeah, I think we have Doug, pull it up, man. So I had physical therapy today.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
And I was listening to some news, and like, this was the topic. Like, one of the guys is like, I had to fly to wherever he's going. I was a little apprehensive, and while I was doing some research for the show today, this article popped up. AP: recent aviation disasters cause fear of flying. So, the article just kind of gives an overview of the last 6 to 9 weeks that we've had in aviation, which has been pretty bad, to say the least. Overseas disasters here on the home front, and a whole bunch of little things, right? Like just this week, it's not on the list, but the Japan Airlines 787 clipping the Delta tail, and so the question is, so the question, and there was some, I listened to some pretty, I can't quote them directly, but I listened to some pretty wild stats about air traffic control, how hurting they are on manning and experience. And I think it's so funny, man. My entire career flying fighters, it's always been like, oh man, the tower guys and the approach control guys at this base, they're terrible. If you're doing a PAR with them, keeping, and it's like, it's been like the repetitive story the entire 22 years, and I'm just like, man, like, you know, it is real, right? The struggles that they're having with manning and whatnot. I don't know how to fix that. It's being looked at, but you know, the big question is flying still safe? And obviously, all three of us have flown militarily and commercially, and I mean, I can say like 100%. It's light years safer than driving. And I think that the odds of anything happening to you in an airline are extremely rare because there's so many, really, in my mind, there's two reasons. There's so many layers of protection. And then also, you know, unlike the military, we fly these things and we operate these airplanes like right in the middle of the performance envelope. And there's so many layers of safety that it's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely. But I don't know. GONO, are you worried about air travel?
Well, I tell people, you know, because I fly sometimes 250-ish people in my airplane, and I tell all of them that I like to live. So yeah. I fly safe because I want to be safe. You know?
You have skin in the game.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is safe. You know, I think this was an eye opener for me. The mishap that happened. What is it? 29 January. And because of the fact that when you are on short final, that you feel the safest. It's you on the runway. And the fact that happened is definitely something to look at. But I think there's a lot of layers out there that are basically keeping the aviation safe, especially domestically in the U.S. And I think that, you know, you should not worry about aviation mishaps like that happening in a frequent basis, you know. So yes, it is safe. And if it's not safe, I'm not flying.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Simple as that.
Exactly, man. Mover, what do you think, man?
I tell you, man, like I think there's airlines in the US, there's a lot of respect for a pilot's decision to say no. You know, I don't think there's a lot of pressure for you to make it happen. If you feel like it's not, you know, the captain where I fly definitely has the last say.
Yeah, well, even you as a FO, right? I mean, I know me as an FO.
Right.
If I tell any of the captains I'm flying with, hey, I don't like this, they're going to honor that, man.
Totally. Yeah.
If I have a valid
it's
reason,
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Culturally, we're extremely safe. I think the medical field is looking at ways that we do business in aviation because we're so safety conscious and we look at risk and mitigation strategies. We talk about that on every flight. So, yeah, I'm highly confident on our safety.
Mover, what do you think, sir?
I think, you know, airlines talk about the threat and error model, threat and error management, trapping errors. And we've trapped a lot of errors shortly before disaster. And we've talked about them on this show. We've even ended up on safety briefings for certain airlines because we talk about them so much. But those that we've talked about have been like, you know, the difference between that being the disaster before this one and not has been razor thin margins. So it's not that we haven't come close. It's just that this was finally when all the holes of the proverbial Swiss cheese model lined up. And it has been a lot of factors playing into it. You know, one of them, like you talked about in the article, the ATC issue. But that's not to say another issue can't pop up. Gono's right. You know, we live in a safety conscious world, and that's our job. But I don't think that overall it makes aviation less safe. It just, now the public is more aware of the kind of the margins that we operate in, because anything is dangerous, right? There's no such thing as 100%. And we have been operating as if we can only accept 100%, which is correct. That is, I mean, that is the mindset, but that's not accurate, right? You're going to have that 1%, 0.1%, whatever. It's just impossible to be 100% all the time, no matter what, because we're humans. We're humans. Machines fail. Things happen. You know, we don't know what happened with the Jeju flight. We're going to find out what happened in DCA. and it's always multiple factors that just line up to make it, if they'd have just trapped one error, sometimes they could have averted the entire disaster. So with that in mind, are the odds of you getting on an airplane and something bad happening high? No, absolutely not. You are much more at risk driving to the airport than you are flying on the plane. Are we more cognizant of the risks now? Yes, because it has been at the forefront for a while. And unlike the days past where you only heard about the major disasters, we hear about everything. We hear about every, almost landed on the wrong runway, almost, had to do a go around at, low altitude because they got a low altitude warning, almost hit a tower, whatever. You hear about that instantly because of channels that are monitoring ATC, and you hear them arguing with tower. That's always been going on, but now it's more of a microscope. And as soon as something bad happens, aviation becomes, hey, why do I keep hearing about that? You keep hearing about that because that's your algorithm. Whether you're on social media, whether you're listening to the news, what sells is fear. So it's not that anything has changed, it's that you're more aware of it. And we have been headed toward this for a while because that's just the nature of anything that is high risk, like aviation. I mean, humans were not intentional, we're not birds, we're not meant to fly. So there's risk in doing stuff that's not natural, much like driving a car, riding a horse, riding a motorcycle, etc. But if you compare those things, 121 airline flying is like it's the safest thing you can do. Like there's no, even with the mishaps we've had lately, it's still the safest thing you can do.
Yeah, you look at the I think military training is better, but if you look at the training you have to go through at any 121 operation, it is quite thorough. And then there's at least two of you up there, so yeah, I agree with you guys. It's still, it's unfortunate that, we've been very blessed here in the last, I don't know how many years, but we've had a really good
16.
run of,
16.
literally no fatalities, which, that's just a testament to
the Southwest lady that,
that's right,
unfortunately ended up
when they had the engine failure.
Well, so I do have a question. Does ATC still have the mandatory retirement?
Yes.
Do they? Is it
55?
It's I don't know the age, but it's definitely younger than.
Yeah.
Is it less than us?
Oh, it's much less. Yeah. I don't know if it's 55 or 60, but my point being is I wonder if that's going to come into consideration of, marrying that up with the airline world, because, if they're short, Doug says it's 56. So
56, okay.
That's 9 years younger than what the airlines are right now.
They're definitely talking about that. I've heard.
Yeah.
That
extending it.
Yeah.
Because they lose a lot of experience, at 56, and they have an issue with producing air traffic controllers, so they have to do something.
That's crazy. It's basically 10 years earlier than I would have never. I had no idea, man. I wouldn't have guessed. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's obviously not just an air traffic control problem. No. We don't know. We don't know what happened in the cockpit of the Black Hawk yet. Like we don't know, what went on other than they called visual and obviously worked. So.
Yeah, I brought up ATC just because that's kind of what they were talking about this morning on the news when I was listening, which is just one of the things that they were looking at as far as, okay, is there anything wrong with our current system? Manning, procedures, equipment.
I gotta say, man, like I'm sorry to interrupt, but
go ahead.
To me, and not to try to speculate about what happened, but it just seems to me that there's a very thin layer of safety when we talk about the Swiss cheese and the model. We try to have multiple layers of safety, that way nothing gets through. Seems to me there's the only one that was relied on was this guy's visual with the traffic. So
my buddy brought up a good point too. Like, if the top was 200 feet and the American was on final 325 feet, and even if you had visual of him, so I mean, how close would you be? You know what I'm saying?
25 feet is a near miss.
But you know,
and your altimeter could be off by what, 75 feet?
Well, yeah,
125 feet. I mean, you can have 125 feet of mode C reporting error that you don't know what their actual altitude was.
Right.
Yeah. So, and being low, slow. I mean, the worst possible energy state condition you could. Your ability to maneuver as an airplane, especially like a CR, is almost none. And I think about that. Even if they did see him, they're like, we're just cruising at 200 feet. He's going to go right over us. No big deal. It's like, dude, that's still like
what's
you said.
RVSM? Remind me, academics. What's the closest you go in an RVSM? Is it 1,000 feet?
1,000 feet. Yeah.
Is it 1,000? Yeah.
So that's reduced vertical separation.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we're operating in the landing environment, and we've planned ourselves at, like you're talking about, 100 to 150 feet.
That's pretty close.
That's geographically, they should never have been anywhere near the same piece of airspace.
Yeah.
Which we've heard that too. The route is 200 feet hugging the shore,
right?
Not over the water. But I can neither confirm nor deny that. I just heard that as rumor. But still, is it 500 feet at that point? Even still, in an environment where the airliner is most vulnerable,
right?
Like that leaves really no option. I mean, go around, but I mean, it takes a couple seconds for the energy state to change, the trajectory to change. And dude, you guys know when you're that low to the ground, it severely limits your options.
Yeah. Well, and it's a short runway. So you're trying to get down. Like I mean, you've been to Orange County, GONO and LaGuardia and stuff. I mean, it's not a nice, easy, long descent path. When you get these short runways, in these profiles like that, you're trying to get down. You end up with a little bit higher rates of descent out, and when you get stabilized.
Yeah, I was shocked to know that they were that close, or that the procedure would take you that close. So
yeah, man. And like you said earlier in the show, GONO, I mean, when you're at 325 feet, like getting ready to land, like really at that point, I'm like, all right, I got a little crosswind. I'm probably going to put the rudder in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm done looking around for airplanes. I want to make sure I successfully land this thing.
Yeah. Aim-point airspeed, right? That's what they teach us.
Yeah, exactly.
You
look outside. I'm looking at the
pilot flying, bro.
I'm looking at the HUD, listening to
the flight director.
I'm dreaming of a HUD.
I'm putting a circle on the circle until it starts saying 50, 40, 30.
I'm dreaming of the HUD, and in the corner of my eye, I watch the captain's hands. If he grabs the stick, I'm like, I must not be doing this right.
So I guess since we're talking about that mishap, one of the things that came out recently was that the Black Hawk had no ADS-B, and people are kind of making that out to be an issue because they're like, well, they turned off their transponder. Well, first off, they turned off mode S. And I don't know if you guys remember when we got mode S in the T-38, because that was a requirement, I think, for 2020. I don't remember what year it was. That most aircraft, unless you had a waiver or something, you had to have mode S, which is out, not in. So the only way, like in the T-38, we had mode S to comply. But as far as in, we had the pucks, the Stratus pucks, and our iPad, because that's the only way we could really even interpret the data. In this case, what I've explained with TCAS has various modes that it operates in. TCAS interrogates mode 3 Charlie primarily, and that gives you your altitude. It creates a bubble around the aircraft, and it says, is this going to intrude? Because remember, with fighters, we set off TCASs all the time, especially tankers and stuff like that, because it takes our mode 3 and it goes, this dude's got a 10,000 foot a minute climb rate. Here's your RA, because there's no way. You got to start maneuvering now. That's not what happened here, but what I'm saying is that's how it works, just basic. If you add mode S, it now gives you a geographical component to that. It does the GPS. It makes it a little bit higher fidelity stuff. Whether they had mode S on or not, I don't think would have helped them. Would have helped the RJ because of how close in they got the traffic call. Because at that point, they're dirty. Like you said, Gonky, they're in that, hey, I'm about to land, aim point airspeed. And remember, they were looking at traffic that was taken off. So now you're kind of thinking, you know, am I gonna have to go around because that guy's an intersection, and you know they're gonna send me around, stuff like that. So they're looking this way. They're not focused on over to our right because they've just been belly up to it. I think that the whole ADSB discussion is a little bit of a red herring by people that get used to the iPad on ForeFlight, right? Because you're not heads down looking at that kind of stuff in that environment at this point. You're cleared to land. Now, would it have helped the Blackhawk crew? Well, they probably had it on their iPads. I mean, they probably had Stratus Bucks. I mean, I know they fly with iPads, but I don't think whether they turned it on or off is some big conspiracy. I think that was just their mission profile.
Well, even if it didn't work or they had it off or whatever, that's like we're talking about. That's just one of the safety layers, right? There's a whole bunch of other ones that, you know, should have kept that from happening. But yeah, I mean, dude, look, hopefully they look at everything, including, you know, what we're talking about tonight, and find out actually where the deficiency is so we can fix it and not do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, at 200 feet, you're probably not looking at the iPad, is what you're saying, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is
At night, exactly.
At night NVGs, like I don't think that, you know, it would have played a factor. Like I don't think. I think you needed to be visual. You needed to be visual and not anywhere near the same piece of sky.
Right.
Doesn't matter, like whether they were on altitude or not. I think that was. You got to do geographical separation. It's like the Beano line. We talked about that at the Wings Over Dallas air show.
Yeah.
You know, when you have to have, and we did this in our mission planning as Red Air. You know, you have to have that geographical deconfliction, because what if I am 100? What if I got the wrong altimeter setting? You know, I'm not going to accept a 100-foot pass. Right. You know, geez.
Yeah, exactly. Don't hinge your life on just one safety.
That
one
that is
safety measure.
Huge,
yeah, it's not a good way to live.
Very small margin for error there. Anyway, let's see what the kids at home are saying. I want to hear some flying stories from GONO, says Steve. Dude, tell the story you were telling before the show started. I'd like to hear that one again.
Which one?
Which one? The
Hornet? The Hornet?
The Hornet story?
And then tell the F-35 one. That's my favorite.
Yeah, do them both.
Yeah, well, so there was
flying the Block 30, by the way. We're just F-16 Block 30, big mouth, greatest jet in the world. Next, to continue.
Yeah, so basically my intro to Gonky is like, hey, Gonky, I fought a Hornet on a clean
Super
Block
Hornet's
30.
not the
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh yeah, whatever. They're all the same. They all look the same to me. Yeah, so I was we had our BFM phase, so we were clean, no tanks, and we go out to 465 to fight some Super Hornets from the boat, and we're doing just perch BFM. In this case, our game plan, we did a 6K, two 6Ks and two 9Ks, so basically a 6K DNO and a 9K DNO.
Offensive and defensive for the kids at home.
Yes, yeah, defensive BFM. So on my defensive 6K, one of the things that the Hornet does well is that, you know, basically you can point your nose with very little energy. You know, it has that alpha that basically you want to exploit. And one of the things I told Gonky is that when I was defensive and he basically rolled at fights on and he goes to basically drive to my turn circle. At that point in the Viper is a rate machine. It's just like there's like nothing out there. And when he did that, I knew at that point that I had won the fight, because I just sustained the energy that I had, and it took maybe 2 360s, and I was offensive with my guns sight on the Hornet. And so that was impressive on the Viper. If you go out there to fight the Viper, don't try to rate against a clean Viper. It's just not going to work out well. So that was a great lesson there. I was thinking of you, Gonky, when that happened.
That wouldn't have happened with Gonky, dude, because I have been trained.
You got the old man BFM skills.
I have been on the receiving end of said story early in my career. But no, continue with the
Tell us about Fat Amy.
Fat Amy. Well, yeah, I fought Fat Amy or the F-35. We're doing we did a big LFE over. I was at Luke Air Force Base. The airspace there is great. So big LFE, and then we had a couple F-35s rejoin on us, and we're basically we had some gas. We were in the red air side, so we had some extra gas, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys want to do some ACM, and we'll be red for you guys?" And so we said yes. We had a centerline tank on the Viper, and yeah, I mean the F-35 Air Force version. I don't know how the difference is with the Navy with bigger wings, but with the tiny wings, basically a one-trick pony when it comes to BFM. So
get shot. That's the trick.
Yeah. So again, very similar story. We break as a flight, and we basically establish our roles and decide who's the fighting and who's the engaged supporting fighter. My flight lead ended up being the engaged fighter. I supported my flight lead by basically turning my Viper around, raiding like a big dog, and basically saddled up and gunned the F-35. So it was pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do.
Big target.
Yeah, big target.
Big, fat target.
One of the things that when you have wings like that, you can have power, but I guess it's tough for them to regain that energy once they cash in all their BFM dollars. So
cash money.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Cash money.
BFM cash.
Thank you for that. we appreciate it.
So did you guys lead back? Or were you guys like, hey, we'll take the lead on this?
No. We fought, and after that we came back as a 4-ship.
They're cool. Used to losing, Gonky. They don't need all. They're not proud. They're not a proud people.
I mean, we say that now, but they're extremely capable in terms of BVR and
all the nerd stuff.
GONO, you can let them down easy, but let's be honest.
They're good at being nerds. It's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fine. We need them.
Yeah. You can't shoot your watch at a bar and impress the ladies with BVR stories.
Yeah, BVR, dude.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah. Well, I locked on the track file here on the right. It's like,
and then I selected the first one and killed it, and I called Fox 3.
Yeah.
We were LARPing. Pew pew pew. My simulated missile. Yeah. It's hard to be humble at 9Gs, GONO.
I don't know. Listen, man, I said it before. Like, look, dude, GONO, what's I'd be interested to take on my latest, but the BVR thing, I still think it's a pipe dream. I mean, right? They're shooting at airliners. They can't ID airliners. They're shooting airliners. The Navy's shooting down Super Hornets, like within their own battle group.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. And they try to shoot down a second one. So like, you're going to sit here and tell me that we can do effective BVR without smoking our own guys in wartime when we can't, like, we're actually shooting down our own people and airliners and stuff in peacetime, relatively speaking. To me, I'm like,
it's fog of war,
Right, but it's going to degrade back to, all right, no more BVR. Everyone it's got to be a visual fight. Then all the F-35 guys are like.
I mean, honestly, man, with the adversaries, near peer adversaries, i.e. China, I think that's going to be an acceptable loss,
Yeah, probably. Oh, yeah, you got a point. Yeah, you got a point.
That's they're no joke, man. Like, they are putting a lot of effort into their Air Force and their capabilities, and they are out there training to beat us, man. So
yeah, are they having uniform inspections though? That's what me and Mover are trying to figure out.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, look at the J-20 and all these new missiles they're developing. And how fast they can produce an airplane.
Yeah. Dude, there's, you bring up a good point. You talk about the Super Hornet guy that you smoked, but when you described what he did, I'm like, that's exactly
so to speak.
So to speak. Like, it's exactly what he was taught, because I used to teach it. I could tell you exactly what was going through his mind.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm gonna go where he started his brake turn, wait for line of sight to take off, and then I'm like, dude, but and that's a function of my entire time in the Navy. I fought 2 F-16s in BFM, and it was when I was a brand new. It was in the syllabus for. We had a dissimilar BFM flight when I was a student, rag student. Most guys got it in Key West fighting the F5, which is dissimilar. I was lucky.
Yeah.
They let me fight the Fresno Guard guys. But outside of that, man, we would only fight other Hornets and the F5, as Red Air. The F-16s at Fallon, most of the time, those guys were just doing the BVR stuff during the LFEs that we would practice, but we never got to fight other airplanes. And, in the syllabus, they're like, okay, if you're going to simulate like fighting F-16 or MiG-29, one guy be in MIL, one guy be in AB, but nobody adheres to that rule. It's like, you're losing. I'm going to plug in the burner. Right. But, it wasn't until I got out, went overseas and fought real MiG-29s and through Su-30s where I was like, dude, some of this shit that I was taught is not a way to live. Like, you can't fight a MiG-29, because like you said, dude, in like 2 circles, he will be behind you. So like, the training needs to get, I can't remember the name of the book. It's a great book. The Air Force bought a whole bunch of Russian jets in the 80s. Right. And they had that whole squadron out there, and they would train Eagle guys, Navy guys fighting MiG-23s. And like, I read that book, and it's like the training is so valuable because it talked about, it's like, you'd smoke a Tomcat crew the first time in a MiG-23, but then you teach them and then they would never lose again. Right. That kind of thing. So I hope, can't afford the Air Force we want, but hopefully, the training gets more realistic. But I digress.
I was fortunate, man. Now, speaking of that, I was fortunate because when I was my first Eagle Squadron at RAF Lakenheath, the 493rd Fighter Squadron. That's what we did, man. We went all over Europe.
That's awesome.
And we fought, like, you name it, Typhoons, Vipers, MiG-29, 21s, the Rafales, Gripens, you name it, man. And everyone fights it. They have their isms, right? So when you go and you definitely, if you fight a Hornet, I have to exploit my advantages. And the Hornet does the same, Like I told you another story about when I went my TDY and I fought a VFA 204, and those guys, they fought well, man, with the Hornet, exploited its capabilities. And so when you see that from your plane and you're not seeing just another Viper trying to mimic those tricks, it's highly valuable,
Yeah, you're lucky, dude. I'm envious. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of envy, Iran has a new carrier. Gonky, I would like your opinion as our resident seaman.
So to speak.
Man, no. You are the resident seaman.
Yes. I'll be the seaman.
All right. This is our high quality 240p video that Iran has put out. Let us play. That's just music, in case you were wondering. I don't have that.
Bro.
Oh, man.
It's a converted cargo ship.
Oh, boy.
This would be a good one for Wombat.
That doesn't look real.
It's definitely RC, man.
It's not making air wind over the deck, I can tell you that.
No. Did they show it recovering?
Yeah. It just lands normally.
Yeah, hey.
Did he grab a wire?
They show one of them grabs a wire. I don't know if it's this one, but
that's pretty quick.
There's another little video here. Hold on, let me find it.
I mean, if I launch my RC airplane off my canoe, does that make my canoe a carrier? I don't, dude, I don't.
According to Iran, it does.
According to USS Gonky is now operational.
Well, you remember the USS Flag?
No, dude. Should I?
Yeah, you don't remember the GI Joe? Hold on, wrong one. The old GI Joe USS Flag, that aircraft carrier that all the kids wanted but nobody had.
Oh, back in the 80s?
Yeah,
vaguely. But it doesn't look like that, dude. That, I mean, that was just like a container ship. Yeah,
that thing.
That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. But dude, the Iran, yeah, that looks cooler than the Iranian carrier.
That's right, dude.
That's just me.
Yeah.
You know, dude, I don't know. It reminds me of I don't know, 5 years or so ago, Iran came out, hey, we've built a 5th gen fighter, and they had this mock-up thing. And
that is showed, it is the Q313.
Is that it? It looks just like
drone format.
Right. They've scaled up the their creation. I think it's publicity. I don't think there's anything there. I mean, dude, when it's I just think it's publicity stunt, man. I don't think there's any
here it is. It carries helicopters. Like 5 of them.
I don't see why. I mean, I do watch some RC fighter jet stuff online, and most of them don't take 600 feet in a ramp to take off. You know, maybe it needs more thrust in that one engine, but I don't know. I think it's propaganda, man. But you know, hey, what do I know? What do you think, GONO? What do you think, man?
There's no way that's a operational carrier or we'll ever get there.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah.
There may be some internal politics, man. They're showing off to their own, you know, parties or whatever.
Well, they're the whole squadron right there.
Yeah, they're not fooling anyone else, you know.
Well, we have talked about drone saturation being a thing.
Yeah, we have, but I don't know. What I mean, is that a tent on the back of that?
It's cargo, because it's a cargo ship.
She's pulling double duty. The front end is business, the rear is cargo.
That's right, dude.
It's all right. Dude. What the C-110-4? Yeah, I mean, she's lightly loaded. I mean, you can see the rudder and the. I don't know. I think it's propaganda, man. That's me. I don't know. What do you think, Mover?
I made a video and got a death threat out of it.
I know you did.
I should talk about.
Recant your statement.
Iran is greatest navy in all of the deep blue navies. And I think it's a great idea.
I mean, they got Tomcats. Why didn't they strap a Tomcat on that bad boy and ramp it off? I mean, I would have been impressed. Then I would
probably did.
I know, right?
Didn't release that video.
Yeah, edit this part out. Edit this part out.
Yeah, take that out of the tape. You know, I will say, though, to their credit, they have been, ever since our drone crashed over there, they have been highly robust in their drone program, to the point that it is wound up, you know, with Hezbollah, Hamas, Ukraine, or Russia versus Ukraine. And it has become a problem. And we've talked about that. You know, the Houthis, you know, they're a big time drone player. So conceptually, if you could have a drone carrier that could survive, it's not a bad idea, because, you know, what we talked about before, I mean, we shot down our own Hornet because of saturation and everybody's got an itchy trigger finger. So if you can take, you know, 1,000 little drones and get them closer to a target, dude, that's a threat. You know, that is something you got to worry about. Problem is, how do you get something that massive within range of anything without, you know, the only reason the Houthis are where they are is because we parked off their coast. You know, we parked within range. I don't know. Gonky, you're the naval expert. Move the battleship around. Tell me how this works.
Well, how this works is that thing gets sunk and all the RC toys go to the bottom. But, you know, I will say this about the Iranians. I mean, my hat's off to them, because, you know, they've been basically isolated, right? I mean, no help or whatever. And they have been able to keep, you know, aircraft flying, right? I mean, Tomcat is a complicated beast. They've even still flying the F4, the F5. I don't know how mission capable they are, but for a country that's been sanctioned and cut off, they have the know-how to keep those older airframes flying. So I'm poking fun at them a little bit because I think it is propaganda, but they do have an aerospace industry, and they do know how to get airplanes flying. And it's not outside the realm of possibility that they could indeed have a drone that can go out and do some damage. You touched on it. Tactically, dude, you're putting it on a cargo ship. I mean, it has one airtight compartment. You put a hole in it, the ship sinks, right? I mean, like, it's not a warship. They just, and that's why I'm like, this is most likely propaganda or a technology demonstrator. Maybe they're out there just testing some naval aviation stuff. I don't know, but
who's the guy, Doug, that has all the RC planes? We should have him make an aircraft carrier.
Oh man, if you hadn't asked, Tyler Perry. Yeah,
we should take Tyler Perry because he's got like a life-size C-17. Yeah.
Did you say a life-size C-17?
Well, I mean, it's like
30% scale. It's huge.
20-foot wingspan. The thing's gigantic. He's got like at his house, he's got like a little RC airport. But
wait, 20-foot wingspan. That's a D-38. D-38 is what, 25 feet?
Tyler Perry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
That's an airplane.
That's an airplane, correct. He has the option to sit in it.
21 feet. The wingspan is 21 feet.
Wow.
That's
its length is 20.9 feet.
Yeah. That's an airplane.
You can fit in the cargo. And
you could probably
I mean, look at that.
Yeah, you could probably put a horse jockey on that thing and let it go.
Yeah. Gonky bullying horse jockeys.
What?
What?
I don't know.
Oh, they have a 1-200. I just bought a 1 to something Airwolf.
Hey, how's that coming along, by the way?
It's gonna be some work to put it together.
Really?
Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit. But just saying. Hell yeah. Okay, well, that's enough about that. Send all death threats to Gonky.
I'll forward him the mover.
I can't take it anymore.
I probably have gotten them. I don't read comments, man.
Yeah.
Keep growing your beard, Gonky.
That's right. I'm just gonna blend right in.
Skid says Gono was leading when I lost my canopy.
Gono,
oh yeah, leading? I remember that story. Oh yeah, I was one.
Hey, did he check in with you with lots of wind noise?
He checked in and he said this right before his canopy flew off. He's like, "Hey, Juan, I have a canopy unlock light. It's probably a sensor, so we're good." And then that was the last thing I heard.
Of course. Oh, that's Did you look over? You're like, that's weird. This canopy's not there anymore.
I'm like, 3, where you at? So, yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
There's a cool picture out there.
Oh yeah.
Crazy Pete says, so it's his fault.
Negative. It was maintenance's fault.
Yeah.
They were doing something they shouldn't have done.
Laura B says, so sad we can't give Mover birthday super chats. Well, they go to Gonky anyway, so it's fine.
No, they don't. Now it goes to everybody.
Now it goes to no one.
That's true. It goes to YouTube if you could give it to him.
Yeah. I had a friend in high school that had the G.I. Joe carrier. He used to sleep on it.
Because no one to take it, probably, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mover should stream his Airwolf construction project. No, I'm afraid I'm going to break the thing, man. I'm really...
Well, it's RC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it electric or gas?
Electric.
Dude.
But it's got the guns and the rockets and stuff.
Really?
Retractable gear.
Wow. Does it have the afterburner out the...
It's got the tailpipes, but I don't think anything will do anything.
No fire comes out.
We can wire some red LEDs in there.
That's right.
Breaking news. Notum is out. It's back to being Notum.
Good.
Nice.
So it used to be notice to air missions. Well, no, it used to be notice to airmen.
Yes.
Then it became notice to air missions for like whatever reason, because we needed a new name to tell us about all the towers we don't care about.
Correct.
Yeah. The 14-foot unlit tower, 500 miles from the end of the runway. It's like, why are you telling me this? Like, can we get a
in
tower?
case you hit it?
In case you hit it. That's right.
Yeah.
It's buried.
We told you.
It's in the NOTAMs. You should have read the NOTAMs.
Yeah. So now it's back to notice to airmen.
Good. Breaking news. I like it, dude.
World is healing.
Yeah. You know, if they could slim down the NOTAMs a little bit too. You know, we joke about the 14 pages of NOTAMs, but
why? Like everything. The runway is wet. The runway is dry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
how's that a notice?
Yeah. Occasionally they're like, it's in the NOTAMs. I'm like, really? I looked at the first page. I didn't see anything.
I just listen to ATIS because that'll tell you what you need.
Yeah. I mean, when you're approaching the airport, it will.
Yeah. They give you the important ones in ATIS. Why?
Yeah. Like runway closed. Uh-oh.
If you're in a helicopter, it doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
In fact, when it snowed at Gulfport, it was runway closed except for helicopters.
Really?
Yeah, the aerodrome was closed except for helicopters.
Well, I guess you don't have to worry about stopping when you land.
It's a sudden stop.
Sudden stop. That's right.
Sudden stop. Gono, did you know we got record snow here in the Gulf Coast? I know Miami was probably 84 degrees. And
yeah, we were fine down here, but I did see snow in the Panhandle. It was shocking.
Like almost a foot. Wild.
Skid got snow. Skid
even in Panama City, man, it snowed all through the Panhandle. And they closed I-10 for like 400 miles or whatever.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah, because they don't have any de-ice around or salt, right? Salt or sand.
You see the video of the Pensacola guys with the salt that were at the back of the truck? They were just taking a handful and throwing it.
They're salt shakers. It's like whatever. It's like we're doing what we can here, boys.
That's all we have.
Swing by Denny's. Yeah, exactly. Swing by Denny's. They got more salt. Yeah, no, it was, dude. It was a good. I mean, I'm originally from Ohio. It was a good snow for if he lives in Ohio. Like, you know, my kid, he's 6. We're driving around in my truck at night trying to get stuck, and he's like, I'm like, son, this is probably the only snow you're ever going to see in your lifetime here in Florida because this just doesn't happen.
I knew it was serious when I invited Skid to a Pulse of Honor event in Orlando, and he said, I can't do it because of snow.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, wow. Skid.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, the place, you know, I will say this, Florida, at least here in the Panhandle, Pensacola area, it's really pretty after a nice snow, dude. Yeah. And you know what? Since I'm lazy, actually, I have a running competition with my neighbor who can leave up their Christmas lights the longest. But anyways, my Christmas lights were still up. And so it was cool, dude. I went out and took pictures of my house with the Christmas lights on with the fresh snow. I'm like,
that's the Christmas card next year.
Pretty much.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You never send me a Christmas card.
Yeah, I don't actually send Christmas card. It'll be for me. I'll send out. Look at last year, Christmas time.
Mm-hmm. So on to sadder news. There was a mishap today. A Scottsdale collision. Doug, you got that? Yeah. And I think it resulted in one death as two jets collided.
On the runway?
On the runway. So do we have the article, Doug?
I'm not sure there was one. Let me check.
Yeah, it's literally right under what you highlighted. See where it says tribal dot. Well, you are just not into the whole Twitter thing, are you?
No, not a fan.
That looks like the ramp area, doesn't it?
There you go.
It does. You can scroll down. Yeah, this says on the runway at Scottsdale on Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. the Lear 35 veered off the runway after landing. So
it veered onto the ramp?
Collided with a parked Gulfstream 200 at a nearby ramp. And 3 people were injured, 2 being taken to trauma centers, 1 in stable condition. They're trying to get one. That's a weird way of saying that. We're still working on extricating 1 soul out of one of the airplanes. He had explained to the runway. So I don't know. In the article, it doesn't say 2, but that could be one of the trauma victims.
Oh, wow.
Passed away. Yeah, one dead. Okay, so that was the one they were trying to get out of the airplane. Got it. So, and that's another Lear. You know, it was a Lear 55. Not that, yeah, it's a Lear 35 that veered off the runway. So, you know, it was Lear 55 that Philadelphia, now Lear 35, which I'm not saying there's any correlation. It's just, but then now, right, like we were just talking about before, people will now be like, oh, Lears are unsafe, just like they've done with Robinson helicopters and everything else. I mean, it could be completely unrelated to the aircraft type, but people hear buzzwords and repeating, but it just sucks. We lost somebody else to an aviation mishap today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does. I mean, it's unfortunate. I always say it, you know, we're going to find out why and hopefully be able to prevent it from happening again. I mean, I don't know, man. Aviation is one of those things. I mean, they're high performance machines, and anytime, you know, you're going to have human beings operate machines, mistakes, you know, unfortunately, you know, happen.
Yeah. GONO, got anything?
No, man. It's sad. First I heard of it.
Gonky, what is this USMC F-35 planning thing?
Yeah, so one of our viewers, Ron, he sent me a thing about his kid's an F-35 pilot, and he sent me this, like the Marines do this, they go through the fleet, right? So all their aircraft and helicopters, and they kind of lay out their plan the next few years. And I thought this was interesting. So the Marine reshuffles the F-35 plan and latest aviation plan. So if you scroll down a little bit, Doug, the main thing is kind of in the first paragraph. So the Marines operate the F-35B and the F-35C. So the B is the vertical takeoff and landing one. The C is the naval variant.
Wow.
I didn't know they even operated the C.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the big news is they have divvied up. So they divvy up their order for F-35 between the two models. And so they have now decided we're going to reduce the B model, buy more C models. So originally they were going to buy 353 F-35Bs, but now they're going to buy 280. And the difference is going to more F-35Cs. And this is an abbreviated article, but it also talks a little bit about they're still going to keep 2 Harrier squadrons going. They're going to keep the upgraded F-18s going with the ESA. They're putting the ESA in the legacy jet. And then the other big news, I guess, they're going from 10 jet squadrons to 12, which I know for Air Force guys, like those are tiny numbers, but that's kind of more in line with how the Navy operates. And I just thought it was interesting because, I mean, we like to bag on Fat Amy, but especially the B model. Like, I'm a firm believer in the B model, the vertical takeoff landing one. Completely ruined that airplane.
Yes.
I think if the Marines were smart, they would have bought Super Hornet, because look, the Marines' mission is to support the troop on the ground with the gun, right? That's everything. They're all about supporting the grunt on the ground. And these, you know, Mover and I have, and you can chime in too, GONO, but like having a 5th gen vertical takeoff, and like, you're not going to be in the jungle launching your 5th gen fighter to go fight. Now, I do understand the Marines operate off of smaller flat tops, and it is nice to have a fighter capability off there. I get that. But, you know, I would challenge that with, well, in all the years we had the Harrier, how effective was it? Like, in what scenario did we really need it? Because like in World War II, Marines operated expeditionary, right? So, I mean, they would, you know, the grunts would go conquer an island. They would put an airfield on it, and the Corsairs would operate out of that, right? So, why do I think they should have bought the Super Hornet, mainly the 2-seat Super Hornet, was because the FAC-A mission, man. I never did it because I wasn't a Fleet Super Hornet guy, but I had buddies who were Fleet Super Hornet F Squadron guys, and they did the FAC-A mission, right? Which, I mean, that's, dude, you're working with the guys on the ground, guys and gals on the ground, and they're very good at it. And that airplane with the two crew, very effective at it, because we used to work with them all the time. You know, they put all their eggs in the F-35 basket, and I think what they're finding out is the extra payload and higher mission readiness, the C model is probably, worth something instead of the, having this crazy vertical takeoff and landing airplane that I think is just ridiculous. But that's what I think. I don't know. Gono, what do you think, man, on their decision to shift like that?
Well, I know we rag on the F-35B model, but I always thought, and maybe you have some perspective on it, but the fact that that big boat is a big target, and I mean, if you had Super Hornets, how would you employ them? How would you move from point A to point B? I think there is a capability for you have a smaller contingent of I don't know what do you call them, but boats or carriers or smaller carriers.
Boats is good.
Oh, yeah, is that good? Okay,
that's good.
All right. It gives them more agility, and I thought about that when we were doing this whole agile combat employment, where the Air Force said, "Hey, we probably won't have in a near peer type battle environment. We won't have the ability to have a big base where we park all jets there. We probably have to be more agile." And that's a capability that it brings to the Marine Corps, and obviously Marine Corps to the U.S. So. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's interesting. I had no idea they had the 35Cs. I thought they were all Bs, and I'm a little surprised by that. But
Mover, what's your take, sir?
I didn't know that either, and it makes me wonder why do we even need them at this point?
The Marines or the F-35, or
why do you? So the whole idea of this thing, right, was we needed a jack of all trades because for whatever reason, we couldn't stand the idea of Marines get what they need, Air Force gets what they need, because it was a joint strike fighter. And then we get to the planning phase and we're like, well, we got to fit a lifting fan and it's got to have a commonality, which is why it's fat Amy now. Like, that's why the thing looks the way it does. And that's why it didn't have lightning protection for a while. And that's why, all of the variants had various issues because they had to have commonality. And so we get to this point and everybody's been saying, like you, Gonky, that, hey, dude, what do we really need Stovall? And Gono, I get your point, but Marines through OIF, OEF have been doing exactly what we in the Air Force do. They've been expeditionary. They've been going just like the Air Force does, Balad, Al Assad, wherever.
Yeah.
And they have been putting Hornets there, ground-based. I mean, there are Marines Hornet pilots that have never been to the carrier. Is that a true statement, Gonky? I mean,
all Hornet guys get their initial qual, but yeah, some of them then spend their entire career never going back.
Right. Wow. So, like, they are like, we need this because the Harrier, which was a very small community, is very important to Marine aviation, and we put all our eggs in this basket. We spent a whole bunch of money to make it VTOL, Stovall, whatever. And now we get to this point, and they're like, yeah, it turns out this C model is good. And so my argument is, okay, well, why not just have the Navy do it? Navy's got C models. Yes. They're on the boat. It's going to be the same boat.
Yeah, I totally support Marine TAC Air 100%. Because I just, having worked with them for so long, I get how they think and operate. But you can have Marine TAC Air. You just don't need a 5th gen vertical takeoff machine. The problem is, I think if you look, like, the Air Force is going to buy like almost 2,000 of them, right? So I mean, if you look at you ruined an airplane for like the smallest percentage of orders, right? So the B model is going to be the numbers wise least produced. You know what I'm saying?
Most expensive. Yeah.
Most expensive
per unit.
Yeah. So, like, you ruined an airplane, arguably, for a very small amount of orders, basically. I would argue that if there was no B model, I bet the Air Force and the Navy version would probably be
like an F4.
Yeah, they might even be the same airplane, right? And then in that case, dude, everything comes down. Cost, right? Simplicity of manufacturing, everything becomes, it becomes a better weapon.
Why do they need the C model?
What do you mean? Why do they need Marine TAC Air?
No. Why do they need the
big wings, right?
Because you can operate that airplane off of carriers, which they do. Because we had the snakes on our boats, the Marine TAC Air Hornet Squadron, but then they can also operate them expeditionary, off of just like they do the D models, right? The Marines, all the D models are they were shore based, not ship based. So they can have close air support, and then
with the C model with the gun pod.
Well, dude, so okay, I mean that's a whole nother thing, right? So you could have a Marine F-35C unit. I personally think they should have the A-10 too, if they're truly into supporting the guy on the ground. But just talking about the F-35, the C model lets them do expeditionary and be operated off a naval carrier, whereas the B model is, I mean, in the jungle or on the small flat tops. But I was, almost 11 years Navy. I never did any operations we did other operations with other nuclear powered supercarriers, but we never did any operations with the smaller boats, that had Harriers or anything. I don't even know what they were doing. They were out doing small boat stuff, I guess. I don't know. I mean, GONO, did you ever do any work with Harriers off the small boats or anything like that?
Never.
Right? I mean,
no.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I ever saw even those ships was in port,
So just to throw some numbers out here, and this could be wrong. This is just a quick Google. Flyaway cost in 2024 for an F-35, $82 million for an F-35A, $109 million for the F-35B, $102 million for the F-35C.
Yeah, probably because the orders, man. So the Air Force is ordering the most.
Yeah,
exactly. And if you got rid of the B, the A and the C probably would have been basically the same airplane.
And recently, the Navy purchased 17 Block 3 Super Hornets for a cost of $1.14 billion, which is $66 million per aircraft.
Yeah.
So, again, I go back to why do we need this?
Need what?
Why do they need 5th gen at all?
Yeah, I mean, you can argue that fact. I would argue they need 2-seat Super Hornets more than
that's what I'm talking about. We went all through this whole thing about they needed Stovall and 5th gen and all that stuff. Now we said, well, you know what? We don't need as many of that. So why not take the money and get more of the aircraft that they probably do need?
Yeah, dude.
Because
how are you expeditionary if you have to rely on the Navy and their boats?
Well, I mean, the way the Marines operate is they'll dedicate certain squadrons to work with the Navy. So they'll be part of the carrier air group. And then there are some that are just, expeditionary. I think they operate on the same base as the Air Force. Now, I don't know how they determine that, GONO. I mean, I think with the Hornet, it was always single seat squadron could do both. The D model, they wouldn't let the D model out on the carrier because it carried, I think it was a fuel issue, carried less fuel. And the legacy.
How about the Harrier? Those were dedicated to flat tops, right? Small
boats. Yeah, exactly. But again, man, I never did any exercises with them. I don't know, how do they fit in the whole equation? I don't know. I mean, you could think up a scenario where they would be a player, but kind of like Mover's alluding to, it's like, man, when you look at it like realistically, like their mission is to support the guy on the ground. Okay, how do you
need helicopters for that?
You need helicopters.
Well, with politics, right? If you have you got to get your money in that pot, and the only way to do it is by the new buzzword is to get 5th gen. If you're going to go to Congress and tell them, hey, we want, another fourth gen platform to support Marines, I don't know if you're going to get that much traction.
Well, the Navy did. They bought 20 Block 3 Super Hornets for $1.3 billion. They did it.
Yeah. When was that? After the F-35 deal was made?
Oh God, dude, this was just now.
I understand.
2024. March of 2024, Navy seals $1.3 billion deal for Block 3 Super Hornets. They bought which gets them into
Yeah.
2040s. So that this last year.
I don't think Lockheed would have allowed that to happen back when they were trying to make the F-35 deal with the DoD. You know,
therein lies the problem.
Yeah, that's
therein lies the problem. We are controlled by the contractors.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Gono. I just, I mean, gosh, 15 years ago.
I'm with you. I'm just saying the reason why they wanted the F-35B to happen. They need money, right?
Well, that, and you got to remember the other thing, and it's not the Marines' fault, maybe, but they put all their eggs in that basket, thinking that airplane was going to be available roughly 10 years sooner than it was, right? So that's why, I mean, when Mover and I did our last dead out of Miramar, is like a Hornet graveyard, right? Because I mean, they're flying those legacy jets into the dirt because they should have been replaced by now, you know, and that F-35 is late. The Super Hornet for the Navy was more of a gap filler, really, you know, because it's right kind of like Gen 4.5. It's not really 5th gen. So
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, moving on to the next one. That was good.
And I like the Marines. Don't send me any Marine hate. I'm a big fan of the Marines.
Send all hate mail to Gonky. See what the people at home said. 8,000 OV-10s.
You know, there's probably a ton of Marine aviators that are like, yeah.
I'm in favor of this plan.
Tom says the B model allows us to claim we have enough carriers. Modern doctrine suggests we should be a 16 carrier Navy, but only 11 operational. LHA, LED, B model allows us to cover the shortages. Maybe we should take after the Iranians and have drone carriers to up those rookie numbers. We could pump our numbers up with the USS Flag.
You could just throw a barge out there, dude, with a flat top and put an F-35 in the middle of it. I mean,
the one guy,
one
jet.
That's right.
VFA 204 style. We've got one flyable airplane and 18 dudes to fly it.
You were the skipper of this barge, and you were the aircraft commander and mission commander of your aircraft.
You have 2 maintainers. Good luck.
I love it.
Marine A-10s would rock, according to Skid.
Skid.
All right. What do we got? Con. Gonky, you're going to love this.
Can't wait.
So, since Gonky was bullying the large country of Turkey, they've made the aircraft smaller. As far as
is that what you're saying?
Their major upgrades, yeah. But they're doing numerous projects for the Con, including both manned and unmanned versions of it. But they're reducing the length by 0.7 meters, which I guess is good because smaller is better. And then the wingspan has been shortened by 0.6, which is interesting because it makes me think of GONO, what you were talking about short wing, stubby wing on the F-35. But somehow they've gotten more payload, and it says the climb rate has increased. I don't know if that means it's 48,000 feet per minute, which is, according to my editor, impossible. But
40.
Quite possible. Yeah. Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
No, I'm just making fun of my editor that said that it's not possible to hit 40,000 feet a minute.
Oh, that's right. I remember. Yeah. Sorry.
I wrote that in my book, and she's like, "No, you need to rewrite this. It doesn't make sense." Engine power
maybe
has
not
boosted.
Sustainable.
I don't think it's that deep. I think it just anyway. Height has been reduced, so it is shorter. Length, width, height. It's got more thrusties. Can go faster, higher, and the range has increased. Right? Oh no, the range has decreased. Go back down, Doug. The range is decreased to, so that's not an upgrade. But look at the Herjet, dude. What does that look like?
It looks pretty good. I like it.
Yeah. It looks.
Is there a T7? It's basically it's what it is. Right?
It looks very T7 like, yeah.
I think it's a GE motor. Coming out the back. I think I read
know.
that somewhere where they're using
Really?
GE motor. Yeah.
Like a 414 or something, or
Yeah, 404, 414, one of those.
yeah, dude. Hello
Yeah.
Jet would be fun to fly.
That would be fun to
Dude,
fly.
how are they flying that before we're flying our the T7?
Thank
Dude.
you, Gono.
You know, like
Oh, dude.
It's
how
$1
are
million.
these countries? It's a
Dude.
trainer. We're still flying 38s.
Well, apparently that's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
That's a dumpster fire. That whole thing. It's got more problems than Doug says GEF 404.
Yep.
So
Yeah, so it's got a Hornet motor in it.
yeah. That's a good looking airplane. I mean,
It
the
is.
Con's a good looking airplane too.
Yeah.
I'm curious how this became major technical upgrades. It just sounds like they're refining it.
Well,
Doesn't
I
have
mean,
the greatest profile though.
no, but altering the dimensions is, I mean, that is kind of a big deal, right? From a design standpoint.
Yeah.
You know, and it probably lost the range because maybe they had to shrink the fuel tanks. I don't know.
Shorter wings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, kudos to them, man. They can build a trainer
faster than we can.
Dude.
Maybe we should buy it from them. Maybe we should be like, hey,
I think it's good looking, man. I mean, to be a superficial fighter pilot, I think the T7 looks a little weird. I think it'd be a cool airplane to fly, but
yeah.
like
I was good about the T50. I thought that looked pretty neat.
Yes,
it was ready.
Yeah, that Lockheed help make that?
Yeah,
right.
South Korea.
But it was a combined effort.
Yeah.
I saw a promo video a couple years ago of them pitching that, and it was, I mean, it's ready now, right? That's the problem. It's ready now, so it's like, well, we need a program. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, we know who the problem is with the T7. So
yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. All right. Well, major upgrades. It's a major award. Gonky, you're going to love this one.
Oh.
The Navy Block 2 system. So sorry. The Super Hornet IRST Block 2 system achieves IOC.
Did they put it on the end of the tank?
It's on a pod. IRST Block 2 pod set to equip the Super Hornet achieved IOC. However, as recent reports indicated, the adoption has not been without challenges. And it sounds like you know this challenge. Infrared search and track, ASG 34 Alpha V1 for passive detection of targets engaging autonomously or in combination with other sensors. It can then use the 9X and the AIM-120. It is mounted on the forward section of the ventral fuel tank. Can you scroll back up? Let's see where it is on the ventral fuel tank.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. So it's blocked by the fuselage for any lookup.
No, dude. So when this concept first came out, right? I was flying the airplane, right? And like all of us at this, like I just remember me and all the IPs, like I don't know, we got some Naval Aviation magazine and Boeing ran, and I love Boeing. Boeing ran an ad, advanced Super Hornet, and they're like, we're gonna put the IRST on the tip of the centerline tank, and we're like, clearly they
go back. I need Gono to translate that. What no puto? What's that mean? No puto or carcinogens?
Something like that, yeah. couldn't load.
Hey, there's a trace in there. There's a trace.
No puto. No puto car. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so we're all like, so whoever decided to put this optical thing on the tip of the centerline tank has never been on a Navy carrier. Because
it's gonna be hot shot style running into stuff.
No, dude, the front tire kicks up grease and dirt and all kinds of, dude, the centerline tanks are like the dirtiest. I mean, there's just, carriers are dirty anyways. And like, that's the lowest, like one of the lowest, it's like putting a camera like behind your tire in front of the mud flap. Seriously, it's like, and then like you also said, it's like, well, probably not going to have very good lookup, but I mean, I don't know, the crazier, good on them for trying to expand the capability of the airplane, but I always come full circle back to IRST is not new technology. And we used to talk about this, like how nice would it be to have IRST, right? Some sort of more passive way to detect, track, and attack even bad guys. But, MiG-29s had it since the 70s. The Tomcat had it.
Tomcat had it.
Yeah, the Tomcat had it.
On the nose, though. On the nose.
Yeah, exactly. And like this is old technology that in my mind should have came with the Super Hornet when it came out, but in a better location. Much like why did it take the US so long to come up with helmet mounted queuing systems, when the Russians had it back in the 70s. And that was one of the things when they did the debrief coming out of the Vietnam War. They talked to fighter pilots. They're like, we need guns in our fighters, and it'd be nice to have some sort of helmet mounted queuing system, right? So like this is all old stuff. I mean, I'm happy it's finally coming, but I don't know, man. I think of it kind of like the AT FLIR is pretty good, but it definitely had its limitations. You can only look left, right? Kind of thing. So I don't know, man. Good on them. It's been over 10 years in the making. It's probably really awesome if you can give it a clear field of view and you're not operating off of a ship for any extended period of time.
Yeah, Gono, what do you think, man? Oh, it's muted. Hold on. How about now?
Good. No. You hear me? No.
I hear you now.
Yeah. I was saying that our radar technology has been highly advanced, so back when I started flying fighters, I mean, their jamming capabilities weren't that great, so you can't really replicate or have the range that a radar has with an IRST. So I think that we relied on that for all these years, and now that obviously that's a passive way of detecting, and you don't have to basically you don't have the competition for all these advanced jammers that gives you a new capability. So we're looking at that as a method of queuing our our missiles to it. So that's why we're, I think, now trying to look into ways of incorporating the IRST into our systems. That's my thinking.
Yeah.
What do you think, dude?
If the Tomcat had it, I don't know why we don't put it on everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember wanting it in the Viper. I mean, you'd see like, hey, this has got the IRST, and we're like, yeah, we want that. And it was always like on the unfunded projects. Like you had the list of wish list that everybody wanted, and it was like, we don't have funding for it, and then you'd hear like, oh, we might be getting it, and then I don't know, never really materialized. But that's always been an issue, especially with getting the sensors that you want, is just, what's the budget, what's the funding, and where do you mount it? Where do you mount it when it wasn't designed for it?
That's the thing.
And then integrate it with a sensor fusion into the system that you got, I venture doing it for Red Air. I think like some of these Red Air groups are putting them on like the F5. I think the F5 AT that didn't have an IRST.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
I want to say it does. TAC Air?
Google says yes. Yeah,
I think they put an IRST on that. The TAC IRST was unveiled in 2022 and is installed in front of the windshield. So TAC Air could do it on an F5 on front of the windshield.
I wonder how good it is. How far out there? I mean, it doesn't have that much detection range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the MiG-29 guys in Malaysia, they had it. And I asked them, I said, how good is it? And I caught them at the tail end of their, they were standing down the MiG-29. But he said when, I was talking with the squadron commander, and he said that when it was newer, inside of 20 miles or so, 15 or so miles was pretty good. But he said nowadays he's like at about 5 miles is about the limit. But I mean, again,
really?
You're talking about 70s technology being good out to 15 miles, which, it's not great, but it's not terrible. But we're talking about like 45 years of like the newer ones are better.
What about when you were with the Malaysian guys? They had that, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Malaysian, the MiG-29 guys said when the jets were newer.
No, the Su-30s.
I never talked to them about the IRST, but I imagine it's better because it's a newer airplane.
But they had the French avionics, right? So they might not have even had.
They might not have. Yeah, you're right. I never asked them about their IRST, but they definitely had the helmet. You know, the helmet queuing system that airplane has. But yeah, man, you see stuff, and like you said, we were like the Tomcat had it, dude. That's the airplane's been the Tomcats were retired for 20 years. You know, I think like when the Super Hornet came out, man, it should have been built in as part of the sensor suite. Because I mean, the one thing the Super Hornet does really well, probably just like the F-16, is the way that, you know, like AT FLIR radar, all that stuff is integrated and everything talks to one another. You know, I think they've got that doped out pretty well.
Yeah. Well, good. It's IOC now. Congrats.
Yeah.
I wish they would have put it on a pylon or something. You know.
Yeah. I don't get that.
Yeah, dude. The location is like, oh, dude. You know, it's like, okay, on the cat shot. Now we're airborne, and my IRST doesn't work because it's covered in grease.
Or you have to jettison your tank.
And there goes your IRST.
Yeah, in combat, right? Because I mean, it's not just emergencies. It's
you commit. Yeah, commit.
So, okay, so I'm punching off my tank. Oh crap.
Now look,
who's clean?
Yeah. Now you don't have your IRST and you can't refuel anybody because are they putting it on the tank with the buddy store? Is it like an all-in-one package? The super duper Hornet now? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm sure, dude. It works really well within its field of view.
Yeah.
Jim says grease from the cat shot, same reason FLIR pod on the left cheek station.
Yeah. But the difference is all of your pods retract, right? Like the optical part doesn't stay. You know what I'm saying? Like even you guys use what, the sniper pod?
AT or lightning AT.
Lightning, right? So when you had the lightning off, it was retracted, right? Protected itself, right? It flip around. The AT FLIR was the same. So like when an AT FLIR wasn't powered, I mean, you could throw dirt at it all day, but once you got airborne, turned it on, you know, old R2 would swing around, the eye would come out, and you're like, now I'm ready to rock.
Yep. Yeah. All right, Gonky, do you have a mental health minute today?
No, sir. I'm all smiles. We got GONO, man. No, there's no need.
GONO, do you have a mental health minute?
No, I'm good, I think.
I don't know. This is where we talk. I think I got one.
What do you got?
Adaptability.
Oh, that's a good one.
Doesn't that sound good?
It does sound good.
It occurred to me this weekend that sometimes things don't happen on your timeline. You know, you have these ideas of how stuff's going to work out in your mind, and you know, you can't give up just because it didn't happen on your watch, you know, on how you thought that things were going to work. And I think sometimes it applies to both, you know, your plans, and then as things come to you that might change your plans. And sometimes we have to be able to adapt and roll with the punches and be the golden retriever that Gonky always is, and accept the things that we cannot change. Instead of trying to, you know, basically fight quicksand and swimming upstream and all the other sayings that go along with that. But basically, learning adaptability in general is something I have trouble with, but I think it'll make us more even-keeled in general and allow us to be happier overall, because instead of thinking that everything is a rigid timeline in our timeline, we allow stuff to happen and adapt as it happens versus, you know, you fight what you see versus trying to make it a picture that works for you. So that's kind of my spiel on adaptability. I've seen this a lot in my own life where I think that everything has to be on this timeline. And if it doesn't happen exactly the way I pictured it, then it's never going to happen or it can't happen. And I often need to take my own advice. But Always talk to your wingman, mental health counselor, DPH, military one source, 988 if you need it, 911 if things are getting really bad. Somebody's there to talk to you. Gonky, what do you got?
Adapt and overcome, right? That's the
Mike Tyson.
Correct. Mike Tyson as a Marine. As a Christian, I'll just say God's got a plan. But you talked about adaptability and adapting to things outside your control, and kind of what came to mind the last couple of weeks. My dad and like a lot of my friends were like, "Hey, man, now that if they offer your old job back again, because I fought the mandate, are you going to go back? Since they're, the new administration's in there and they're trying to. A lot of people were kicked out for not complying with the jab." And, I thought about it for a while and I'm like, man, I mean, back then, kind of like you're talking about, Mover, like things happen, right? I made decisions that I thought were right. And then there were consequences to those decisions. And I had to alter my game plan. I never thought I would stop flying tactical fighters until like I decided to quit. GONO, I always envisioned myself going out like you did, parking the airplane.
Yeah.
Walking
He's still
out.
Here. He hasn't gone out yet. But he still exists.
No. I mean, going out of your military career.
Glory.
Yeah.
Parking the airplane, wife and kids there, celebration, getting out in the car, driving through the gates of the base, never to return. Right. That was kind of my vision.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not how it has happened. And, I'm not bitter or angry, and I wouldn't go back, and I wouldn't change a thing, because you have to adapt, man. You can't let external things that I could have controlled it, but the decisions and the convictions that I had put me on this path, and I just have to, whatever happens, I had to be able to adapt to that and make it work. And I think we all did. And that's just my example that comes to mind since Mover brought up adapting. But I think that, if you apply that throughout, the rest of your life, I think it will, to me, it's leads to less anxiety, right? Because really, when you think about it, I would say there's very few things in my life that has happened exactly as I have planned. And, if you just kind of think back on the track record of your own life, and then just kind of think about where you're at now, how you got here, and really, are you happy with where you're at? That kind of, to me, proves that, okay, the future is probably going to be similar. I'm going to do the best I can do to prepare with my plan. And then things are going to happen that are out of my control. But like Mover said, it's always good to have a wingman. If you need help, always call somebody. What do you think, GONO?
Dude, to that point, and you mentioned my last day in the Air Force, and I had that anecdote about flying a fighter on my very last day, but it wasn't always that way. I was in the Eagle, and much like you, well, in a sense, I stopped flying the Eagle, and it was because I was told to. I was told to go operate an MQ-9, MQ-1, and at that time, it felt like a death of the fighter pilot in me, right? But one of the things that I always remember from SEER training, it was PMA. Remember that? Positive mental attitude. And I think I kept that attitude and positivity because I know that I can't control my future. There's things you can do to affect it, but you don't know what's going to happen. And being adaptable, like Mover said, by basically, hey, these are the cards I have. I'm gonna deal with them. Help me, basically keep that positive mental attitude. I went to the MQ-9, MQ-1. I did one of my best work in the Air Force and for this country with the MQ-9, man. And lo and behold, later on, I had the chance to go back to flying, and I never thought I would get back to the great jet. I was happy in the 38. It was a great gig that we had, and I ended up adapting again and going to a TX, learning how to fly the F-16, and yeah, it starts with that mentality, you know, and knowing that you have to adapt, you have to keep a positive mental attitude, because there's just things you can't control, you know. So
yeah, awesome, man. Doug, what do you think?
Sorry, I was reading Midnightly's comments. They're giving a dissertation on this topic. No, this is a good one, and I think it ties in with a lot of stuff we've talked about in the mental health minutes. It's flexibility, adaptability, whatever you want to call it. It's really, I don't know if I want to say top 5, but it's definitely amongst the top keys to mental health. And there's all kinds of great, natural analogies out there about trees that bend and don't break. It's something that correlates with intelligence. You can oftentimes get a handle on somebody's intelligence pretty fast by how well they adapt to an unexpected or new situation.
I'm an idiot. Damn it, Doug.
That was not
Keep talking, Doug.
That wasn't the intended takeaway, but okay.
Son of a.
It can also correlate a lot with mindfulness if you think about it. When you're in a situation and you have a plan and your plan falls apart, now what? I have to think about what's available, and I have to think about, excuse me, I have to think about what I can do with what I've got. And I can say personally, some of the most fun times I ever had racing were when we broke the car and we didn't anticipate exactly what would break. So we didn't necessarily have a spare part, and we just put it together with whatever we had. We made a silencer for the exhaust one time out of a empty propane can so that we could pass sound tech, and it was just made us feel great, and we've kept racing. That kind of thing can be a great experience.
Oh, racing teaches you a lot about adaptability.
No
an endurance
question.
Race for any kind of organization.
You had a plan for a car to run 12 hours and it only ran 9 hours. You got 3 hours to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. I guess we got some people from the audience that you've starred. John says, didn't we do adaptability? Maybe not that word.
Right.
But we've done everything. It's all like you're going to cover topics over and over in mental health. I mean,
at some point we're going to come full circle.
Yeah. Mover is a constant moving target of mental health. So
aren't we all?
Yeah. Fact.
Crazy Pete says maintain a rigid state of flexibility.
I like it.
Old Paint says your enemy can't anticipate and get ahead of you if you don't know where you're going. That's the motto of the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah, effective.
Jim Morrison says, believe this was Patton that said that, or Mike Tyson.
Oh, dude.
A lot of people grabbed
that's
that.
why John thought we did this one already, because that's the original Mike Tyson. Your life does not get better by chance; it gets better by change. Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn. Yeah.
Darkness is okay. I still go and visit and now know how to walk out. It's a lot easier once you stop judging darkness. Oh, wow. That was a very serious thing, but thank you for that. Yeah, Gonky, that's a show. GONO. Dude. Awesome.
It's been awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's great to have
thank you for having that. Hopefully,
No, we'll have you back.
Something like this.
Do you have a book or anything that we want to peddle? Your wares?
No, man.
Do you have any?
Nope. Just
you may start
during
writing
retirement. I could, right?
Yeah. Dude,
how do you say make them tell you no in Spanish?
Diles que te digan no.
See?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect, Mover. You did nailed it.
Nailed it.
You just
I'm getting good at this. Trust me. I've got a chance.
Okay. Say beer. How do you say beer in Spanish?
Beer in Spanish. Modelo.
Modelo.
There you go.
Corona.
You could go 2 ways there.
Oh, that's funny, dude.
Más cerveza.
Más cerveza. There you go.
Más cerveza. Tango el gato los pantalones. Anyway, cool. Well, thanks for watching our show.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Thanks for being in here. We'll be here next week, probably, Gonky.
Oh, yeah. I'm down for like till the middle of March, man. I got the knee surgery.
Whoa. No, you got to come to drill.
TBD, bro. TBD. I tell you what, man. I always think I'm recovering pretty good. Then I go to physical therapy and they're like, straighten your leg. And I'm like, I can't. I can't.
Straighten your leg.
Yeah. The simple things. They're like, well, let's see how you're doing. Flexibility is good. That's about it.
Oh, hey, Tom says, thanks, guys. I've used the mental health minute as part of my individual development plan as my learning and development as a leader. I've sent my boss's links as an example. Truly helpful topic to keep going.
Thanks,
Gonky. You'll love this. Did you do ACSC?
Are you asking me?
No, of course not. GONO, you did ACSC, right?
Yeah.
You know how you got to do discussions and citations and stuff?
I
cited us.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah, we had a guest, very wise colonel that was on, and we had a leadership topic, and I was like, yeah, it's like the whole thing about retention is a function also of recruiting and stuff, and then I cited
the Mover Gonky show,
the episode. I just put the whole episode in thing.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, you are teachable. You're teachable.
Mover et al. Mover and Gonky show 2025.
Yeah. He's trainable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Listen.
I'll probably fail that class and be retiring soon, but I digress.
You got to use last names in APA citation style, so you'll dox us
I
all.
screwed it all up, dude. I just put a link to the thing. I put Mover and Gonky show 2025. I'm so fired.
Oh, dude, that's funny.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
You guys. Good night.